They've done it again. Johan Durant and Stephen Mitchell are the APTA national champions for the second year in a row.
There you have it, your women's APTA national champions, Florentina Harnisch and Anna Maria Sabori.
Hello and welcome to the APTA's Tour Series. We're live from the Weston Golf Club in Western Massachusetts, bringing you the Boston Open Grand Prix, sponsored by the APTA membership, as well as our national sponsors Viking and Paddle Pro, and local sponsors. Presenting sponsor Discipline and Alpha LLC, platinum sponsor Worcester Air and Weston Golf Club, gold sponsors Billy Boy Distillers and Owl's Nest Resort, and silver sponsor Narragansett Beer. I'm Mark Fischel, along with Patty Hogan, bringing you this blockbuster quarterfinal match between our number 2 seeds, Cooper Molenveld, playing against Anika Niculescu. Patty, welcome.
Mark, it's good to be calling this match once again with you for what I think was the most incredible draw we've seen this year with this matchup. That's Mirta Molenveld in the near court on the deuce side, and in the ad court is Annika Cooper. On the far side, on the ad court, the right side of the court, that's Roxy Anika, and then her partner, to the left of your screen, none other than Gabby Niculescu. Mark, let's take a look at the draw. It's going to be an amazing match and tournament.
So neither team was really tested and has given up much in the way of energy on this cold Boston day, about 20 degrees outside. You know, we talked a little bit off air, Patty, but you know, Anika Niculescu are 2 of the 3 most talented players in the country, in my opinion. This is the first time we've seen them all year. Cooper Molenveld had played 1 tournament previously. That was last weekend in Cincinnati. So lots of times, you know, it's the team that's playing a lot that you expect to win. Here, I really don't have any expectations of the match. What are your thoughts?
Hey, I just think you look at this draw is, you know, some people say it's bottom heavy, some people say it's top heavy. I just look at every quarterfinal matchup, and there's so much excitement. In this match, we have 3 former national champions. Anika is a 2-time mixed national champ. Niculescu won nationals with Andreikova, and Cooper won with Harnisch. So, Mark, I mean, we have 4 players who are, like you said, among the most dynamic in the game, and this is a pick-em. This match could go either way.
I mean, one of the matches that was interesting today was the Shea Sutter match with Curtis Andreikova, and we haven't seen Jade Curtis since the first tournament of the year at the Witch, or the first stream tournament of the year at the Witch in October, and they obviously lost pretty routinely in that match. I think it was 3-2. And you know, to me, that's not a surprise, because Shea Sutter are playing every single week. They're tournament tough. They've been in the finals of their last 3 or 4 events. Here, Cooper Molenveld haven't played much, and Anika Niculescu haven't played at all.
Yeah, and that's what makes it such an intriguing matchup for everyone, including the announcers. You know, I just think that Niculescu, I have so much regard for the mental toughness that Niculescu brings to the table, even though we've not seen lots of her. And I mean, Anika has more God-given skill in her rackets game than both of us combined, probably, Mark. I mean, you know, they are like...
Patty, don't insult her. Okay, let's give a higher bar than that, okay?
They are the human highlight. They can be the human highlight reel, you know, watching them play. And that's what's going to make this so intriguing. But to your point, you know, Midwesterns was won by Cooper Molenveld. They dominated out there. Not the strength in the field, anything close to what we're seeing in Boston this week. And kudos to Boston to doing a phenomenal job and getting all the top players in the game up to Boston for this wintry weekend. And, you know, we'll see if the cold weather, you know, plays a part in this match, Mark.
Now, one of the weaknesses that Anika Niculescu have is neither of them serve particularly well. And you see Niculescu warming up with some sidearm serves, some overhand serves, same with Anika. So that'll be a factor. They probably have, along with Sabori, the two best overheads in the country. Would you say that's true, Patty?
I think that's spot on. I mean, they can open up the court with those roller overheads. We just haven't seen, any of it this year, but that's what they bring to the table, that a lot of the top women don't have that offensive, explosive shot, and that's what makes them so fun to watch.
Yeah, I mean, the Nicolescu overhead is just unbelievable. So her ability to hit that roller from behind the net is just astonishing. Her movement is just top-notch, just an amazing athlete.
Yeah, and you'll see a lot with Nicolescu, her movement at the net off of the Anika serve. It'll be interesting if she can take away some of that firepower from the Molenveld Cooper return of serves. She's real active, particularly when she moves to her right at the net, where she just wants every forehand that's within her reach, and even that's not in her reach. So I'll be curious to just see how Nicolescu and Anika handle the shots, because I think they both want to hit any lob. I think they're both going to want to hit it, Mark.
On the other side of the net, you pretty much know when you get Monica Cooper on a regular basis. She's a great big match player. Backhand is one of the best in the game. Loves blitz, great athleticism. Mirta Molenveld, we've seen some ups and some downs. We've seen her kind of stop driving the ball at times. We saw that in Cincinnati a little bit in the final. I think she's really the wild card in this match, a match that's got lots of wild cards.
Yeah, you're right, Mark. I think there are 3 wild cards. I think exactly what you say. I've got a lot of confidence right now in Cooper's play. I feel like she's gone through this game and gone through the maturation. She's got a national win with Hanisch under her belt, and she's playing with such confidence. And she had the wrist injury early, but I felt like her play was remarkable from the Midwesterns throughout all the matches we got to see.
Okay, so it looks like Mirta Molenveld will be starting us off.
Going to be really... I'll come back to this in 1 second, Mark.
And Cooper's going to have to be very active at the net to help counteract some of that firepower and return a serve. We were talking earlier, if we did some Viking keys to victory, one of them would have been to deal with return and serve if you're Cooper Molenveld, because that's a lot of firepower on the other side of the net.
And my question mark, when players haven't played competitive play, can they mentally be in there and really battle and play some really good long points early? And I'm thinking of the Anika and Nicolescu team here.
There you're seeing some of that firepower, big forehands from Anika.
And I love that she took the first short ball, went right through the middle, really had players in the net going for the ball.
It's not often you say this about a pickup team, Patty, but Cruz Nicolescu could win nationals.
They have every shot, Mark. They don't really have weakness. Their only weakness is that they don't have any matches under their belt.
Yeah, that they don't serve particularly. That I would say is the only real weakness they have on the court.
I mean, I think the serving suspect at all times for most players who play this game in a pressure-filled situation, but I think they know how to solve for it, and their volley skills are remarkable and more than make up for it, I think.
Okay, so some of the firepower there from Anika Nicolescu with those big forehands. Well, if they're going to hit the forehand like that, you're going to have to see Cooper Molenveld giving up the net early.
Yeah, they're going to just have to guess and make some early moves, Mark. I don't think they can just kind of stand there and wait and react in this with the cold weather. And speaking of the weather, Mark, favors Anika Nicolescu, I think. What do you think?
Well, they're certainly the big hitters of the ball, and I always felt like the colder the weather, the more it advantaged the big hitters.
This is Nicolescu serving, and you can see how she closed in for the first volley, Mark. She just kind of dumped the serve in and just made sure she was in a really good position to volley that ball.
release there.
Yeah, great spot in the return to serve from Cooper.
And they've got to take advantage of the serving from Anika and Nicolescu.
And I think little things like that, you know, Anika maybe I think will look to help out on that volley if Cooper can spot it, you know, off the right side of Nicolescu coming in from this ad court side. Right away, you see the grip changes that Anika and Nicolescu have. They can bring that roller overhead already into play. Anika played the wonderful low backhand volley. She makes those look routine.
I think to keep an eye on as the match goes on is if Anika and Nicolescu are taking the net on serve, they're going to be very hard to beat. Cooper and Molenveld have to punish return to serve.
We just saw a miss on that Nicolescu overhead. She's got that roller shot that she just perfected a season ago, Mark, 2 seasons ago, where she could take a deep ball and hit that shot, and kind of a unique shot in the women's game.
Great ball there from Molenveld, gives them game point.
This match, Mark, I just think it has potential to have
A bunch of missed returns there. And that's where they've just got to be effective, because the Nicolescu serve is without question the weakest part of her game.
But it was a pretty good serve up the middle, Mark. Pulled Cooper over. And I just think, you know, if I had to think about what team needed a good quick start, it's definitely Nicolescu and Anika, having not played any tournaments this year. So great start for them. This is Anka Cooper serving, and Nicolescu crushing her return to serve.
Crushing is an excellent choice of words, Patty Hogan. That was a big cut.
And that's what makes Nicolescu, not only her net play, the roller overhead, but her crushing forehand off the deck. Really one of the most explosive, successful shots in the women's game.
And Anika's is not far behind, if at all. They are just swinging right now.
Yeah,
Great
kind
lob
of.
there. Anika sets it up.
Yeah, tough overhead, you know. Surprised Molenveld didn't take that ball straight ahead. She went cross court, just set up the ball of light for Nicolescu. And Nicolescu is pumped at the looks she's already gotten in this match on her forehand. But if she doesn't get the look she likes, she'll swing a forehand anyway, Mark. As she forced that one.
That's 15-30. Oh, tremendous forehand from Anika takes him to 15-40.
Wow.
They are rolling right now. That was just brilliant play. It lobbed her deep, and as Cooper was coming back in, she had that short angle forehand in front of her.
Yeah, they're going to have to adjust with an I formation. They're going to have some movement at the net. They're going to maybe even consider staying back on Nicolescu. I think they're just feeding her strength right now. And I don't think it's ever too early in a match to make an adjustment when it's apparent that there is a dominant shot emerging.
Up with his team to the other side, you've got an equally dominant shot in the Anika forehand. Here it comes.
Yeah, Nika's coming back from a knee injury, Mark, as you know, and she played a couple matches this morning and says she felt really good, so that bodes well for their team.
Great action at this point.
Yeah, I just think that shot right there is not going to win them this match. Got to keep it away. The last spot on the court I would hit would be Nicolescu's forehand in the deuce court.
Great overhead there from Molenveld, low and deep. Stayed on the side wire, tough ball for Anika. Cooper serving to the deuce court, but yeah, it's 30-40. I think she was looking at our scoreboard, Patty.
Good catch, Mark.
Yeah, I mean that Anika forehand that's a big shot. But again, you've seen in the first 3 games, Nicolescu only served 1 game, but they're not winning points on return of serve, and they're losing a lot of points on return of serve.
Well, you know I love both the Anika forehand and the Nicolescu forehand. And that's why I'm just thinking, Molenville and Cooper are going to have to do something to take this match a little bit. I don't know. They're going to have to neutralize, dump some balls down the middle to Nicolescu's backhand, and even just hit some overheads from the right side of the court straight ahead at Anika. I just think they're such wonderful athletes. The more movement you give them, it's going to work against you. A lot of times you get away with moving side to side. The racket skills, the more you pay the price for it.
There's some overhead there from Anika on a cold day. Molenveld was 5 feet from the net when she struck that ball, and she missed it long.
I mean, that just shows you the power of Anika. That's shocking how far that ball came out.
Cooper was looking long and hard at that ball. Yeah, that ball just explodes off of the Anika paddle. The year she and Laura Barrett made finals of nationals in Pittsburgh, she was just hitting that overhead. She was relentless with it.
Yeah, they had an amazing run for a set and a half of that national final. It looked like they might grab a title.
Up a set and a break.
No, and Mark, that's the thing. You don't really appreciate it on the stream. Just the ball that pops off the Anika overhead and the Nicolescu overhead. Things are going your way, you get leg cords. It's funny how paddle works like that, Mark.
Sure is, Patty. Right now, Cooper Molenveld are not winning a lot of points.
I mean, it's going to be a weird match for them to come out because you just like we were talking about, you just didn't know what to expect of Anika and Nicolescu. If it were me, I would expect that they would be incredible because I think they're incredibly talented. And I think a little early momentum here for Nicolescu and Anika in that first game is, they're riding that wave.
Right now, Cooper Molenveld need to steady down, just hit a lot of good smart shots, play some long points. Okay, that ball was good. I think they really need to slow the pace. Cooper Molenveld really need to slow the game down dramatically.
And Mark, how do they do that?
By being patient, lobbing more. I don't mind taking swings and return to serve, but after that, they got to put the ball in play. How many points did they win those first 4 games, Patty? 3?
I think 3 points.
And it was only 1 game, but very impressed with the side-on serve for Anika. She kind of toyed with it a little bit last year, but the year before, and it was a little inconsistent. Those looked really good.
Yeah, they look dominant right now, Mark.
Yeah, that's 4 love. Anika Nicolescu. Oh, there Anika Cooper tries to switch early in the point. A short lob. Not sure what she was doing there, Patty. The other quarterfinal match getting started. And that's winner, winner. Shea Sutter, a little confusion there with Anika Nicolescu. That's what you want to see. You want to see more of those overheads from Molenveld. Just some soft balls in the middle, aimed at the Nicolescu backhand, slow the pace down, keep the ball away from the Nicolescu forehand.
Yeah, and I think down the middle, getting that ball into that middle screen will pull Anika way over into the middle, and that's what you want. open up her corner. I think that's the play, Mark.
And there to your point, Patty, that Nicolescu forehand came way off the wire, surprised Molenveld. She couldn't even put a paddle on it. 15-30. So Molenveld staying back, I like that. And then they get the error. But now they've got to lob well because a lot of good overheads can be coming from Cruz Nicolescu. Oh, I said it, Anika Nicolescu.
Yeah, so here we go. And this is a really good call from them to stay back and just, you know, to your point about slowing the game down potentially, it's easier to slow it down from the baseline a lot of times, Mark, than it is as a net player.
And there you saw Molenveld stay back, but still have an aggressive mindset, like to drive the return, which forces the error from Nicolescu. I'm not sure why they're coming in there, though. I'd rather see them both staying back. Or just Molenveld staying back and looking to drive the return to serve.
Yeah, and it might have been an easier forehand volley from where she approached the net after her serve. Not sure.
Boy, Anika is really giving Molenveld fits over there with her hard overhead. How would you combat that, Patty?
I think she's got to just commit. It's almost like, I don't know how to say this without sounding something, but I'm going to say it anyway. A lot of times when you play mixed doubles and you'll see that amazing spins from the overhead, from the guy hitting it in mixed doubles. I always thought, and I've always seen everybody have success only if they just commit up that side screen. Don't even worry about playing the ball off the back screen. Commit up the side and let your partner trail the play. Because that's how much respect I have for that Anika overhead.
Sneaky move there from Molenveld, and now you see the adjustments they're starting to make. And as you said earlier, you can never start adjusting too soon. So there they both stay back, and Molenveld charges and is able to make the volley. That was just a really good spotted forehand from Anika.
Yeah, and that's the thing, you know, a short serve, Anika and Nicolescu are going to pounce it. They don't care where anybody is standing. And they can just break down anybody's volley.
Trail by Molenveld. I mean, it sounds so simple, Patty, but basically what Molenveld have to do is get the ball over the net a lot of times.
And I think some high and deep times, Mark, would open up the court a little bit.
That one low and short got set up the court.
Yeah, I haven't seen two lobs, I think, beyond the service. I don't think I've seen Anika and Nicolescu go back more than 2 times on deep lobs.
Okay, so great hold, Cooper Molenveld, great adjustment by them. And we're going to look for more adjustments from them as the match goes on. And they've simply stopped kind of serving and coming in. They're in the I formation, they're both back. Both back, one comes in, kind of moving it around.
And Mark, this is such a tough match if you're Molenveld and Cooper to even think about and prepare for, because not once this year have they looked up and seen the firepower on the other side of the net that Nicolescu and Anika present.
I'm not sure anybody's ever looked up and seen the firepower that Anika and Nicolescu present to the other side of the net, Patty.
Yes, an offensive threat from so many spots. Nicolescu serving. Mirta Molenveld hitting the return, and great move in from Cooper.
That's what they have to do. They really have to punish the Nicolescu serve.
And that's where I'll be curious if Roxy starts getting a little bit more active, just like Gabby's used to. Anika, you know, I'd love her to move, especially when we know Cooper's going to move in from that at-court mark. That's a good way. That's a good way to negate the blitz.
Australian formation. And now we'll see if you're going to see a little more of an adjustment. I mean, there Anika was in the Australian formation, but Nicolescu's not unwilling to stay back, have her partner stay back with her. They're very creative with that.
Well, I think that's the growth that they've had as players over the years, where, you know, early on in their careers, they played a certain way and they were reluctant to change. And, it was good enough to win a lot of the time. But that's the key, you know, the whole sport, the maturation process for the top players is that you have a willingness, you can identify a problem, and you have a willingness to make an adjustment.
40 fault there from Nicolescu, and that's the pressure that good return of serves bring. That's what they cause. Okay, so we really didn't see much of an adjustment in that game from Anika Nicolescu.
Yeah, I think Anika just played way too quiet a game up there at the net, and I think that's where you need help on that really good return of serve from the deuce court. I'd actually like Anika to play Australian on Nicolescu's serve. I'll be curious if they do that. No, I think from Moldenveld, because it will keep Cooper out of the play. You know, will lessen the blitzing opportunities.
Interestingly enough, she did it against Cooper, but not against Molenveld there. And I agree with you, it'd be more effective the other way, because Cooper's the blitzer. Oh, huge forehand there from Anika.
Well, Mark, I've always... Oh, go ahead, sorry.
So that's the spot they've got to avoid, Patty. If they're going to Anika, they got to get the ball on her side wire.
Yeah, nothing off the deck toward Anika's forehand. I mean, you talk about precision placement needed on overheads. Like, you know, I think Cooper's got to keep that overhead.
Whoa,
you know,
dangerous overhead there from Molenveld. Won the point with it, but I'd much rather see that targeted at the left hip of Nicolescu.
Yeah, that's my point. I just think it all day long, Nicolescu's backhand. If she wants a forehand, make her really work for it and back way out of the way to hit it. Make her footwork create the forehand, not the overhead created for her. Like right there, I think that's dicey.
I agree. Anika Cooper with 3 really nice serves this game. Great transition. And that's an example of when your partner hits the ball through, you shouldn't necessarily follow it up. Nika should have stayed back, let Nicolescu come to the net, take control of the net, then come in. She's forced to make a volley from her shoe tops to the service line and misses it.
You know, Mark, I think if Roxy had a quicker start, they would have been fine. I think she was just a little slow getting in. Maybe that's like pushing off the confidence. Who knows how she feels about her knee.
Huge forehand return there from Anika. See what they decide to do here. Regular formation. See if Cooper follows the serve in. You don't like that, huh, Patty?
I do not. I still don't like it.
And that's the reason you don't like it.
It's just foolish. It just is handcuffing. Cooper's getting herself handcuffed, and Nicolescu's return is so amazing that you just have to eliminate that part of the game, that error on your first volley if you can.
It's just too fast. And it's interesting because they had done it on Molenveld's serve, but then for some reason wouldn't do it on Cooper's serve.
And Mark, maybe that's just like not communicating enough and being consistent in their approach here. Mark, the 2 biggest weapons in this match, Nicolescu's forehand off the deck and Anika's forehand off the deck, right?
Yeah, you'd have to argue that.
And so thus far in this match, you know, to play straight up and just give Nicolescu the traditional look, I just don't think is wise.
Interested to see how that Anika sidearm serve holds up today. So it looks like they switched balls, won 7 games, which is good to see. There's that action at the net you talked about from Nicolescu, making herself known, making the returner think about her position.
Oh, she's known, and wearing bright red helps, Mark.
Here you see a lot of those hard rollers. That's good lobbing from Cooper Molenveld, pushing him out of the service box.
Yeah, really good low backhand volley from Nicolescu there. Kept the ball straight ahead, kept it away from Cooper. There's a little slash from Anika. Molenveld's in trouble here.
Yeah.
She went the wrong way, Mark.
Yeah, I don't know why she was coming in. You could see from the grip that Nicolescu was holding, it wasn't going to be a drop shot.
Mark, that's a great point. Nicolescu does show the grip changes, and Anika, you see them early, and I don't know too many players who drop shot off a semi-Western grip.
And by too many, you mean none?
Exactly. And we talked about it earlier, Molenveld, the key to defending it is committing to the side screen, not opening up more of the corner.
Bolts in a row there from Anika. Nicolescu comes back with some encouraging words. Potentially Romanian, so it might not have been encouraging either, though. Here's Nicolescu from Romania. Boy, that's the type of miss that Molenveld just cannot afford. And it's just the pace of the play. I mean, I just don't think that Cooper and Molenveld have seen play at the speed. Anika is being very generous this game, 30-40.
Yeah, Molenveld's not hurting him necessarily with the return. She's just got to make sure she is consistent on her serve. I like the swing. She just took a shot at the camera, Mark, just to get loose, a little bit looser there.
Great return there from Molenveld, and they absolutely have to have that from Molenveld. Her return to serve has got to be a force in this match.
Oh, she's got a wonderful forehand, backhand, ground strokes off the deck on return. I would love to see more of it. So right here, Nicolescu is going to move, Mark, don't you think?
You always think Nicolescu is going to move. She's just so active at the net.
I'm wrong. She froze.
That takes us to set point. Big shout out to Laura Barrett in Chicago. Hadn't played much paddle of late, but hopefully we're going to see Laura back on the court.
Former partner of Cooper, Mark.
And Anika.
And Anika. Well, you mentioned Anika earlier, I think.
But not Molenveld.
Not yet.
Great ball there from Molenveld. Saves the first set point. And that's the play they've got to make. They've just got to be willing to throw up a bunch of good lobs and wait for the right ball. Because the faster the points, the worse it's going to be for them for the most part. That's not a return to serve to me. That's just a ball she's putting in play.
Well, the serve was a better serve, Mark, with all due respect. And I think then Nicolescu did exactly what I think she has to do, is just cut the ball off. Yep, if the ball dips, it's a much more difficult volley for Anika to handle, knowing that the Cooper blitz is not far behind.
Yep, but if they're going to negate the Molenveld return to serve, it's going to be really hard for Cooper Molenveld to compete.
Whoa, Gabby just hit that from the paddle hut.
Another big hard overhead from Anika. They had them in all sorts of trouble that entire point. Just have to lob better than that.
I've never seen Nicolescu hit a shot where she was totally out of bounds hitting the overhead mark. Or most players.
Set point number 2.
Shout out to Wilmington, Delaware's finest paddle player ever, in my opinion, Cindy Prendergast.
Oh. Is there even a second?
Not even close.
Not even close. That's Hall of Famer Cindy Prendergast. Good ball there from Molenveld. Chases that one down. But again, they're in survival mode again.
Prendergast Right. Prendergast Inc. were due to play, but had to pull out of the tournament this week, so hope to see them in the future.
Game in first set, Anika Nicolescu. Patty, what are your thoughts on the first set?
All pace of play favored Anika Nicolescu, Mark.
Viking, one ball to rule them all. One ball is consistently chosen for the sport's highest level tournaments, league play, social events, and weekend outings. Viking. For the last 25 years, we remain the overwhelming choice. Viking, unleash the warrior in you. The official ball of the APTA, the official ball of the National Championships and President's Cup, and the official ball of the Grand Prix Series. So, Patty, what do you want to see from Cooper Molenveld to turn this thing around?
I think that they need to dig in deep. They need to play longer points. They need to slow down play. And we talked about how sometimes it's easier to slow down play, I think, from the net team. And I think that's, where the lobbing game comes into it. On a cold day, it's hard to lob well, but in a way, I think it's easier to lob well because you can hit the ball really firmly and not too many go out. I think they had one long lob early, and, other than that, they just, I think, have abandoned that piece of strategy. And I just think, Anika and Niculescu are on fire here. They have to, I think they have to take the Niculescu forehand out of play. I mean, right off the bat here, Mark, I'll just, Gabby and Anika and Niculescu are amazing front runners and teamed up, Mark. I just don't see them taking their foot off the gas in this match.
Yeah, you've got to back them up. You've got to make them play at a pace that you're comfortable with, that theirs not. And here they are, opening up, with Cooper Molenveld staying back.
When I think of amazing players from Delaware, Mark, I also think of Milbury Jacobs recovering from shoulder surgery. I think the physical therapy is going to hopefully bring her game back 100%, Mark.
I see there on the I formation against Anika. Anything you can do to make that returner think rather than swing is going to be a productive thing for the serving team.
I like this a lot, just staying back on a Niculescu return to serve. What a great shot from Cooper low to that Niculescu forehand volley.
And there's a great example of what you accomplish by staying back. You make the other team hit the first volley. And there Niculescu can't do it off of the Cooper forehand.
When they stay back, Niculescu and Anita kind of dumping their returns, Mark. They're not, taking their full out swing, so they're kind of setting up an offensive opportunity for Cooper Molenveld potentially here.
And there Anika playing a little too fast, takes a swing at a questionable ball, misses. A couple points to get off to a fast start for Molenveld. Again, staying back against Niculescu. So again, the same strategy with your partner at the net. We've seen Niculescu just annihilate that ball. There, with Cooper back, she's a little more hesitant. She's thinking, are they coming in? What are they doing? She doesn't hit the forehand all out. Molenveld makes the volley. They win the point. It's one of the beauties of our game, Patty. If it's not going well, change it. You have those wires behind you. Nothing embarrassing about staying back on serve.
Yeah, I mean, years ago, everybody thought that was, the worst thing you could ever do. And they thought it was giving up the net. And I was always a huge fan of changing it up. And who cares if you give up the net? If you were better off playing the baseline and you were confident in your screens, go to that game to slow down play.
That's a way of getting the net, too. Staying back and hitting the return to serve. Interesting that Anika's starting this set. She didn't start the first set. They switched sides, too. Because this is the side that Niculescu started on the first set.
Yeah, I'm surprised by that as well. Niculescu's done a good job on her serving. Anika's thrown in some faults.
Great blitz there from Cooper. Just misses the volley. Why do you think they did that, Patty?
I don't know. Maybe to have Niculescu on top of the net because she can dominate as the partner of the server. I mean, I'm not sure they thought about it as much as maybe you and I are thinking about it, but you always love when you have that real active partner up at the net on your serve.
Couple misses from Cooper. Match is really kind of the momentum's hanging in the balance now. You just got to make the shots. Great return there. I mean, this is a real opportunity for them to change the momentum here by getting a break on the Anika serve early.
Sure, and I like that, a little bit of an off-speed return from Cooper. You know, and that would be a question mark for Anika. You know, when you're watching her and she's coming through from a knee injury, Mark, that's those low volleys, those off-speed ones close to the net. They're the biggest challenge, I find.
Those last two return of serves from Cooper Molenveld, they weren't aggressively hit. Especially the Molenveld one from 30 all. She really hung her partner out to dry. And you have a hold for Anika.
Yep, but credit again to Nicolescu, and I think one of the things that we've seen over time is, you know, if you have a partner the likes of Nicolescu who's got that movement at the net, Mark, I think Molenveld and Cooper are going to be well served to go up, down the line, you know, hit the ball straight where she starts the point and not trying to beat her with the cross court if she's showing that action.
It just cannot continue to serve in a normal formation and come into Nicolescu. Well, actually they can, but they cannot do that and expect to have good things happen for them. She's just killing them with that. I really feel like Cooper Molenveld missed an opportunity that game. There you see some of the questionable decision-making that happens to Anika from time to time.
Sure, that was a great serve from Cooper, Mark, and you're right. Anika just had to put that ball in play.
There we go.
Anika's problem is she's got so many shots. Great volley there from Molenveld. So she can make that shot, but that you can make it doesn't mean that you should be hitting it. Okay, so now they're staying back to Anika. Or they're just having a conference.
Yeah,
I
wouldn't stay back against Anika.
That's sure a 6-game-to-1 count on the other court. We'll have to find out who's got the 6 and who's got the 1. That's the Elliott-Redesno match.
Shea and Sutter.
Shea and Sutter, who made finals of their last, I don't know, 4 tournaments, 5 tournaments. There we go. Great serve from Cooper. Oh, got to make that shot.
Interesting play. You know, you see Nicolescu didn't follow the shot in, and Cooper was kind of waiting for Nicolescu to make the move, I think. Pretty significant point, Mark, in the second set here.
Yeah, Cooper Molenveld got to raise their level. Just giving away too much right now. Look how quick Nicolescu is getting in there. Yeah, that's just a ball Annika Cooper cannot afford to miss. That was not a good set of games for the number 2 seeds.
Well, I'll tell you, Mark, we had questions about Nicolescu and Anika. They've answered them. I mean, and I think this is the most amazing start to this match. And, you know, Nicolescu, I mean, she put her foot on the gas at the very beginning and hasn't let it off for one moment, Mark. Really impressed with what's on display here. And Anika's just thrown in an occasional little error, just indecision, and I think that comes from lack of no tournament play in 2 years. It just hurts you in those little moments. And like you said, she's so talented. She has so many choices. Most people maybe have 2 choices, drive or lob. Anika's got about 7.
Yes, she does. Okay, Cooper Molenveld really have to raise their level here. Big shout out to Timur Araya, who's watching. Oh, what a half volley from Anika.
John Oliva's watching from Addison, Vermont. Carl Lebanon, Darien, Connecticut.
Carl just wants to get Macy and Marcella's score. That's great forehand there. And there you didn't see Anika chase that ball down, and to me that's the knee, because that's a ball I would expect her to get if she's healthy.
I think it was just such a bad serve. It was so short that Anika just couldn't do anything, Mark, personally. But it's running the ball down off in this cold weather, something like that. It's tough on a day like this anyway. I just think Nicolescu has to just serve the ball a little deeper.
So Nicolescu cheating to the middle again to help Anika when she's off the net.
Yeah, I almost think they should just switch positions because Gabby is feeling it here, Mark. I mean, Nicolescu, the one. I would just put I would always put Nicolescu to the left of most players, even Anika, actually.
Yeah, the advantage of having her to the right, though, is she can hit more volleys, step in and cover the volleys.
Yeah, but I just think the way she approaches everything, she wants the ball, Mark. That's what makes her great. She never, shies away from, there's moments in matches and you feel some players disappear. Nicolescu never disappears.
Definitely one of her attributes, that along with her huge forehand, her great movement, her tremendous overhead, and great hands. Too short a lob. They make him pay. Cooper just doesn't look like Cooper right now.
Well, I just think the firepower from the first point of this match has really rocked their tempo, Mark. And like we said, you just can't prepare for the likes of Anika and Nicolescu together on the court.
Director Jackie Cameron out with looks like new balls.
Usually the
Jackie was going to jump up and hand them to her.
She's tall enough. I'm surprised she didn't.
Another match with Patty Hogan, another height reference. Martin, note that.
Whoopsie. No, and usually you see an umpire with all the extra balls they ever need for a 3-set match, but it's way too cold out there, and the balls come in from inside on a regular basis now.
It's almost a must hold for Molenveld. That's great backhand. To
What a
better
pickup.
volley. Yeah. Great volley from Anika.
Wow. Molenveld went for it, but not exactly the right shot right there.
If they're not careful, this match can be over in about 10 minutes. Great volley there from Cooper.
Mark, I just had a little update from Ann Waldron, who said, I believe that Radesno-Elliott Shea Sutter match is 2-all first set.
First set. We heard him say second set. But
I thought I heard that too. Must have been from another court.
oh, what a volley from Cooper. And when she's right, she's such an aggressive volleyer, one of the best in the game. Another great ball from Cooper, and they've got their hold. So Cooper and Molenveld have won 4 games, 3 of them on the Molenveld serve.
Yeah, Mark, I mean, this, when we talked before we came on air about the possibilities of this match, one of the possibilities was that Nicolescu and, Anika just would have too much firepower out here. And, it's on display, but like we've seen in every paddle match, it just takes a little bit of 1 or 2 shot combinations for another team to kind of, switch up, get a little bit of confidence, a little bit of momentum. And there you see the draw and the potential matchups that we have out here. The winner of this match will come up against the winner of Elliot Radesno, Shane Sutter. Top half, we have Hanish and Zabori out there. I'm sure they're in a battle with Guillaume Williamson right now, and Morgan Sikora out there with Delmonico and Gebbia.
Again, I really want to see Cooper Molenveld play a real good point, lots of patience, as opposed to that. A lot of good lobs, waiting for the right ball. I mean, that's a ball Annika Cooper can make, but does she need to hit that ball?
Yeah, and the overhead was a pretty good one, actually. You know, it kind of jammed on Annika. I mean, Cooper kind of ran into the ball, or the ball came too close to her body when she has the point.
Great half volley. See, again, to me, that's a 50-50 ball. The thing is going really well for Cooper. Maybe she hits that one, but...
I don't think it's 50-50. I think it's 20-80, Mark.
Okay, I was trying to be nice, Patty.
Okay, well, I wasn't. Only right there, only because I saw Niculescu with that Western grip, the semi-Western to Western grip on her overhead. That overhead and that spin is not the ideal ball for Cooper to pull the trigger on her two-handed backhand. I think when you see a lot of teams hit over in that corner, flatter type of overheads, that's the ball of life for Cooper on her two-handed backhand.
Just some really short lobs. They're in survival mode again.
Good things are happening a tiny bit for them, just from playing a little bit of, you know, dragging out the points a little bit, and that comes from lobbing and just a willingness to keep the ball in play. Look at that lob.
Some confusion at the net. That ball was traveling, what do you figure, 3.5 miles an hour?
3.5 miles an hour. It bounced inside the service line, I think. But that's just the confusion with Niculescu, just a little inexperience playing together, tournament pressure.
Here they are staying back on Cooper's serve. I think that's a really smart move. Haven't held her serve yet.
Really smart.
I mean, that's a ball you expect Cooper to make in her sleep.
But she forced it. She just didn't have to make it that good. There's got to be something between 0 and 50 miles an hour.
Oh, great volley from Molenveld. She was in big trouble. Couldn't get back fast enough. So they're losing all these points in the first 2 or 3 shots. They've just got to get back to that style of play that won them in the last game. 15, 20, 40 lobs.
I'd go toward the middle, and it just didn't put her in the best position to handle the play.
There's their game. Good drive by Molenveld, a dipping ball. Niculescu has to volley up. Cooper recognizes it, blitz, and it's the winner. All set up by moving them off the net with the lob. Both staying back now on the Cooper serve.
Really good deep serve from Cooper. Look at the Niculescu coverage right there.
More than anything, they just need to play slowly. Looks like they're switching balls again.
Curious if Annika shows a little bit of an adjustment here on the Molenveld return of serve, because we know Gabby Niculescu's serve doesn't always go deep, and it's not hit extraordinarily hard. And I'd love to see Annika just take a step to her right, just give Molenveld a little bit of a smaller lane to hit cross court.
Nikolescu holds up the new ball.
You got it. 15, 30.
Again, boom, boom, boom. No lobs. Missed backhand.
Boom, boom. I have a friend, Boom Boom Body, and that's how she plays paddle. That works for Boom Boom Body, but it does not work for Cooper right here in this matchup.
I got it. Oh my God.
Almost chart the points, Patty. The more lobs, the better chance Molenveld have of winning the point.
Totally, and that was a really deep lob. That was, we were talking about Nikolescu really will keep that big swinging semi-western grip going no matter how deep she is in the court, and it didn't pay off for her right there. Great lob.
Molenveld got tied up there at the seam. So you heard pretty clearly there, 4-3, Elliot Rudesno.
Mine, yours, sorry. Mine, yours.
Mark, action-packed day here from Boston. After this match, I believe we have men's quarterfinals. They're all starting around 2 o'clock. Non-stop action from Boston.
I'm not sure how they're going to start at 2 o'clock, Patty.
You may have more intel than I do.
No, my clock says it's 2:11.
You have more intel than I do. Mark, do you know my watch is broken?
That explains it, Patty. Great return there from Molenveld. Oh, this would be a big game for Molenveld to come back and win. Our great volley from Anika.
Yeah, good hands. That's why I like Anika up there.
Oh, Molenveld cannot miss that ball. She had Nikolescu way off the net. Just gotta play those game points better than that.
She's just not have that many wide open looks, and it is so hard to resist pulling the trigger all the way there and at high speed. Again, I just think when your game's struggling, you've got to find a way to just get more balls in play. You've been saying that all afternoon.
Another point for 4-all. There's a big return from Cooper. Just have to take advantage of that Nikolescu serve.
Yeah, she doesn't generate a lot of speed with her swing on it, and if she doesn't get the depth, it's definitely an opportunity for the returner to jump all over it.
Well, she's hitting it with an eastern grip, which makes it really difficult to generate any spin. Okay, Molenveld to serve 4-all. They've been very successful on her serve. It's been their most productive game.
Staying back against the Nikolescu return of serve.
Don't mind the first forehand. Don't like the second drive, though.
Would you like it if she made it, Mark?
I'd like it better. I still would have thought it wasn't a great decision. It was a low ball, and they'd already kind of taken over the net.
I think that's exactly the reason I'm in total agreement with you. She's a high ball hitter.
He's playing so fast. Goes for the drop shot there, and they're quickly down love 30. How many lobs have we seen in this game, Patty? One? And they're down love 40.
Yeah, Nicolescu and Anika have little reason to lob.
And there you see Molenveld coming in, which she hasn't done of late, and she's stuck at the service line and misses a half volley. So they played 4 points, they lobbed once.
I think a little bit of a mental mistake right there from Molenveld to come in on that ball, Mark. And again, she's coming in from the ad court. And I think if anything, you got to look maybe to play a little bit more of a forehand, even if it's a half volley, to pick up that shot.
Talk about why that's the case, Patty.
Say it again, Mark, sorry?
And the reason that she should be playing the forehand there rather than the backhand?
Well, she's coming in on an angle, and I think she's forcing a play way off her right hip. It's happened to her a couple times today, and I think it'd be an easier ball just to set up on your forehand. It's against how you handle a lot of drives from your opponents, but it's how I would recommend when you're playing against a returner who can hit that shot up the line.
Spot on.
All right, Molenveld, Cooper have to watch out. Nicolescu's taking off the red vest. She's warming up, Mark.
3 lobs, they won the point. Well played point there. Great overhead from Cooper.
Mark, would Molenveld and Cooper consider lobbing the return to serve?
I don't even think they need to do that. They just need to choose the right balls. She missed that one wide? Yeah, missed that one wide. Yeah, I think return to serve is a real opportunity for them. I like them swinging at return to serve. It's after that I think they got to be much more patient.
I just think Nicolescu is moving this way. She's always trying to help Anika a little bit. Like I said, I think an up the line shot might be great. Or throw up a lob. I just think it would be unexpected here.
Yeah, hit the ball right at her. Don't let her reach in the middle. Cooper misses that one. 15-30. Lobs are too short. Better there.
Nicolescu, 30 all.
30. As you said, Patty, Nicolescu's crossed all 3 times, serving to Molenveld. Molenveld hasn't hit the ball behind her once.
And I just think Anika and Nicolescu just aren't even considering it as an opportunity, as a thought at all.
And Cooper just keeps swinging at those 50-50 balls, and that takes us to match points. We're giving you some bonus coverage. Oh, there it is, game, set, and match. Anika Nicolescu, 6-2, 6-4. Closing thoughts, Patty?
Just pace of play, exactly what we said from the beginning of the match. Just superior level of play, offensive capabilities that Anika and Nicolescu possess as a team, and they executed right out of the box today.
Cooper didn't look like Cooper to me today. She really did not play well, did not do the things she normally does very well. I don't know if she's struggling with an injury or not, but that just didn't look like the Anika Cooper we've come to know and love. Okay, so we're going to take a look at the other match shortly.
5-4, the quarterfinal between Redesno and Elliott, Mark, and Shane Sutter.
Just identify the players. Macy Elliott at the net in the hat, her partner Marcella Redesno to her right. And on the far side of the black sweater, Amy Shea, and her partner, the lefty, Jolene Sutter. So frustrated Anika Cooper we hear in the background. We think it's 5-3 or 5-4, Elliot Radesno.
I believe it's 5-4, Elliot Radesno, first set.
So 2 points from the match, 2 points from the set, regardless. Shane misses that lob long, takes us to double set point. Desno's got that, Elliot's got that big swinging overhead, generates so much pace on her overheads.
And she's got the grip adjustments that we saw with Anika in that last match, where she'll hit the roller, she'll hit the cutter, she'll hit the slash.
Oh, that is a brilliant roller right there. Game first set, Elliot Radesno.
And Elliot, game, they win the first set, 6-4.
6-4, first set, Elliot Radesno. Let's look at our draw. The winner of this match will play Anika Nicolescu.
Radesno Elliott, former national champs, right on the home courts of Country Club Darien. Macy Elliott won it with Marcella. Mark, what was the year? I believe you were co-chair of that national championship.
2020, but Tiernan Cavana really did all the work.
You guys had an amazing team with Carl Evanon up there. And, you know, this is kind of... This match was the other intriguing matchup in the quarters that I had some big question marks about. Shade and Sutter have been on a roll, Mark, as you talked about. They've had a great year so far. They've played a lot of tournaments. They took out Curtis and Andreikova in that round of 16 match pretty handedly, it looked like, by the scores. And, my big question mark of any women's team besides Nicolescu and Anika was Elliot and Radesno. And, will this be where they can break through? They won out in Lagunitas last weekend. They went out there, not a super strong draw, but a really fun draw. So they have some confidence from that long plane ride back and forth across the country, Mark.
Yeah, I mean, this is a little bit of a surprise to me. They just haven't been playing very much, and when they played, they haven't played particularly well. And you've seen Shane Sutter out there every single week playing, and they've been playing terrifically. So we'll see if Elliot Radesno can maintain this level. I mean, Macy Elliott is such a dynamic talent. She's really a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah, and you talk about, in that match, our last match, March, Cooper and Mullenveld just didn't put enough balls in play. The trademark that you're going to see out of the ad-court player, Marcella Radesno, is, when she's on her game, she is super steady, and they just can wear down people. And I'll be curious to see if they find their form and just play as a team. I think they... I don't know whose dog that is, Mark.
What about a dog on the court, Patty? Can the dog play? Got a good forehand? What do you think?
Dogs like paddle balls, Mark. Yeah, Marcella and Macy, Radesno Elliott just went through that field in Darien and just, I think, have to just go back to what made them great as a team. And, they're terrific competitors. And I just feel like the longer they're on the court, good things go their way. And to your point, Mullenveld and Cooper just couldn't play longer points today. Could not adjust the pace of play that Nicolescu and Anika forced in that earlier match.
Men's match getting started on the next court.
What quarter is that, Mark? Can you tell?
No, I don't have a good enough view at who's out there.
Yeah, my watch is broken, Mark. I can't tell you.
It looks to me like it's the Humphreys-Ossis-Koenig match.
And that would put them up, is that Erdoya?
Against Burish Erdoya. I think. I'm not sure. It's hard to tell.
Looks like it.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, now that's clearly who it is. First time we've seen Burris or Doya for a while.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see the stamina that we get out of Erdoya. He got sick over the holidays, so hopefully he's feeling close to his top form here for this match.
He said it was pretty bad. Okay, back to the match. Amy Shea to serve. Macy Elliott.
And I think for Elliott and Rodesno to get the early lead here, it's kind of key because I just think that is going to help their confidence, Mark, when they have, like you said, they've just not played a ton, but they are so talented, very similar to how talented a Nicolescu and Nika combination is, and I just think it's great for the women's game when all these top players are in the draw.
There you saw Shane Sutter not switching in the net to get lefty forehand in the middle, which is really a surprise, and Sutter misses an overhead because of it.
You know, we saw that as one of their strategies, Mark, I believe out in Detroit, possibly, and they purposely did not pull off the switch, kept their backhands up the middle. Do you recall who their opponent was in that match?
Gia Williamson.
So we know the sport is a sport of matchups, and you can take a team that's on a great roll like Cooper Molenveld, and all of a sudden they come out against a team with firepower they're not used to seeing, and then they can't find their own rhythm and tempo to be successful. And you know, I think with the lefty-righty, we always see the switch, and I love that Shea and Sutter chose not to because it worked in that matchup for them.
Well, there they switch and they win the point.
Yeah, I would think against Elliott Rodesno, they would not get away with keeping their backhands up the middle. I think Elliott and Rodesno are just way too smart players who are really going to be thoughtful and selective with their shots.
Oh, shame. This is the overhead there. That was a donation.
I think Elliott and Rodesno tinkered a little bit with who should play what side, Mark, and they've gone back to their winning formula, and I love this formula. I had so much regard for Rodesno's play on their championship run in Darien, and just really smart, mentally tough. And I just love what Elliott brings to the table out of that deuce court, including a two-handed backhand reaching shot. Not hit too hard, a little bit like a medium pace ball, and really smart.
Her two-handed backhand is her primary weapon. She can hit the forehand, but the backhand's a much more effective shot, much more penetrating.
A lot of back and forth from Shane Sutter as the net team right here, Mark. We obviously are just joining this match. So I'm not sure who they're isolating or what their overhead strategy is yet. But going back and forth is always dangerous, I think.
And there you saw it burn them.
Second set. One game. Love. They won the first set 6-4.
And Mark, that's where, the Macy Elliott two-handed backhand, you said that's her favorite shot of her ground strokes, but she can hit them all. And I guess that's what's causing Shea and Sutter possibly to be a little bit uncertain about where their overhead placement should go. That's Macy Elliott serving. She's got a variety of serving techniques and styles that we've seen. She had a unique one when they won the Nationals. Just let the toss get really low, push the ball in deep, and it was super effective.
Shea and Sutter looked very spotty at the net that last game, didn't they?
Just uncertain. And I think one of the things that you tend to see from time to time when you have a lefty-righty is, you know, that they're on board. Like right there, that overhead from Sutter. Again, just like in that last match, you didn't want to see the Nicolescu forehand out of that deuce court. I don't think you want to ignite the Elliott forehand in particular either.
Missed a couple of bad overheads that game, and relatively easy shots.
Mark just got an update on a men's match. Rams Wagner took out Kaylor Lefevre, a new team for this tournament. Fever and Kaylor evidently were up 5-4 third set before losing it 7-5.
And Rams Wagner now scheduled to play against Araya Parsons.
15 all.
So that must have been a long match. Who knows when that quarter is going to start? Don't hold your breath.
7 p.m. No.
An optimist, Patty.
See, Mark, if you never look at the time, you just can you can just make up stuff.
The advantage of having a broken watch.
Exactly.
Well, Shea Sutter missing a lot of balls you'd expect him to make normally.
You know, Mark, we talk about matchups all the time. I love this matchup for Redesno and Elliott personally.
What about it do you love, Patty?
Well, they're really good. I have a ton of regard for their game. I think from what I've seen with Shea and Sutter on their overheads, I think going to the outsides of the court to Redesno and Elliott is not the winning formula. I think it's
there from Sutter, takes them to game point. Big volley. Not sure where Shea and Sutter were on that ball, though.
That was a
great forehand from Sutter.
I like it.
At upper level. I mean, neither Elliott nor Redesno serve particularly well, so you're going to get some good swings on their serves.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, that we needed to see. Like they need to attack anytime they get an opportunity. I think Shea and Sutter, they've got to hit their ground strokes at these guys.
That was a brilliant overhead there from Macy Elliott from off the net. Nicolescu-like. Macy Elliott played tennis at SMU. See how effective that hard roller is. Good drive there from Sutter. Shea asking some good questions, and Elliott with all the answers right now.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Macy Elliott's game, and you could just see there how she handled everything, all the pace. She gets down, she's a great volleyer. And I just don't know what combinations of shots Shea and Sutter, need here as the point develops to break down Redesno and Elliott. And Mark, Elliott handling the pace on all these drives that we're seeing here. She has quiet hands, real still hands, and she's just absorbing the pace. Volleys the ball straight ahead, not swinging, no backswing, no follow through. Rock solid technique.
Much better lobbing this point. Shea and Sutter. The number of overheads that Elliott and Redesno are hitting from outside the service box.
And the reason for that, excellent lobbing from Shea and Sutter. See, this is the question mark that I have about the team of Shea and Sutter. Just in watching them play, Shea doesn't hit that many balls over into that ad court hard enough flat.
Well, great backhand from Elliott. They win the game. 2-love. Sorry, Patty, go ahead.
Oh, no worries, Mark. I just was saying, in watching them play and talking a little bit, and Dave Broderick made this point to me. He said, with Shea's height, she has that lovely slice overhead that she's lived on for years, decades. But it seems like she's gotten away from just hitting that hard flat ball over into Redesno's ad court corner there. I mean, it's a cold day, but I still think I would stretch Redesno out over there rather than stretch Elliott out in the deuce court. What do you think about that, Mark?
Yeah, there's some merit to it. Right now, you're seeing Elliott Redesno kind of controlling play.
15 all.
Well, I think with the really good teams, you've got to be able to get that ball in that ad court corner from time to time and just kind of try to open up the court a little bit, or just get the players chasing a little bit. I mean, I'm not saying Redesno's going to miss the screens because she is rock solid steady, but I think Shea's got to test it a little bit here. And I just feel like the more Elliott gets, the better she gets.
Yeah, Elliott's been really dominating play.
30-15.
This is pretty close to a must-hold for Shea Sutter. Early second set, but they don't want to fall behind 3-love.
No, and we talk about front runners, and we saw Nicolescu and Anika never took their foot off the gas of that prior match, and that's kind of how I feel about Elliott and Redesno's abilities as a team. I feel like when they're ahead, I mean, they can keep their foot on the gas.
How to avoid that Elliott backhand. That is the dominant shot in the court.
I just think they're way overplaying Macy Elliott here.
That's a great overhead. Good depth and pace in those last couple.
Yeah, it looks like Redesno's got the sun over there in that corner. I don't think Shea and Sutter have their earpieces in and are listening to us, Mark.
Here's Amy Shea having conversation with Jolene about what they should be doing.
Yeah, right now. Ad court. Hit Redesno.
Big moment of the match right here. Stand the pressure there, but again, right back to Elliott.
And, when we first went on the air, we saw a lot of side-to-side with the overheads with Shea and Sutter, which I was a little bit worried about the success of that against this team of Redesno and Elliott. And not convinced they've got this figured out.
Shea is one of the best tacticians in the game. So you have to think she's going to figure it out at some point, but it's getting late early, as Yogi Berra likes to say.
It's getting late early, Mark. That's a great one.
40-30.
But see, that's the play. If you lose this match to Redesno's backhand, I'll take that all day.
At the net. There's a lot more overheads to Redesno. Sutter changes directions of the ball.
I just think that's a tendency with a lot of lefties. That's their natural shot. She doesn't sort of have that spin overhead yet that can effectively get into that ad court corner.
But in fairness, she can just hit a, deep overhead and it's going to be okay there.
I think you're right. Just the yep, that's a great point. Just the straight ahead. She doesn't even need much spin.
Right now, Elliott is doing all the damage, so you've got to find Redesno. That's a much better overhead. That is not a good overhead. They win the points, but that is not a winning recipe in my opinion, Patty.
Yeah, they got away with it.
Big hole there from Sutter.
Desna and Elliott lead second set 2-1. They won the first
March.
set 6-4.
The action-packed afternoon out of Boston. It will be nonstop until, what's your prediction? 10 o'clock tonight, Mark?
Well, I have a watch that works, Patty, so you should probably predict since you have a watch that doesn't work.
No, it's amazing. Just the depth in both these men's and women's draw here is every moment you watch, there's something spectacular on.
Well, we've got the women are playing through to the finals today, so they've got another match after this. So,
Sure.
which I think is scheduled to start at 3:30.
Probably not going to happen. And then women's final slated for, I believe, 11 a.m. tomorrow morning.
Between the men's semis and finals, just like nationals. A great play from Amy Shea. She takes advantage of that hard overhead and punishes them.
Yeah, really good spot drive off Elliott's right hip. And I was surprised Elliott didn't really challenge her on that volley. I thought she could have moved forward and made that a little tougher for Shea.
A great drive from Shea, and bad luck to have a little bit of a shank volley from Elliott. Great return though. Shea spots her forehand as well as anybody in the game.
She does, and she's got that wingspan. She just can capitalize more often than not on any short ball.
I'd like to see Sutter take a few more of these balls off the deck. She's letting that ball through to the wires when she's got Elliott deep in the court. This is that one.
Yep, and that's just court awareness and feeling confident and being able to watch the ball and watch your opponents at the same time. Confidence and experience.
Great rip there from Amy Shea. And you only want to let that ball through the wires when it's really hit hard and you can't control it. Those were soft overhead and you could have easily block-lobbed them.
Yep, and I think Redesno was looking for the Shea ball to go in the middle there. Totally got fooled.
Another shank winner from Elliott. Carl Levinette has taught her that shot brilliantly.
Carl is a great mentor.
You don't need to use the word mentor in there, Patty.
Oh, I like to use the word mentor with Carl Levinette.
Carl is just great. Great lob there. Yep, that lob set the whole point up. Elliott hit a deep lob, pushed Shea way off the net, and they take advantage. They go up 3-1. They are really in control of this match right now, Patty, which of course in the battle match means absolutely nothing.
Yep, and I mean, I just think this is not a surprise from Elliott and Redesno, Mark. There were questions about a couple of teams, but I kind of have a lot of confidence in their ability as a team, their mental toughness, and I'm not surprised by this match right now.
Yeah, my only surprise is they just haven't been playing very much. But they are playing brilliantly right now.
Yeah, and I mean, Shane Sutter, had that tough 16s match, Mark, and they had the win over on Drakova and Curtis, and I'm sure the match was closer than the scores indicated, so I'm sure they used up a lot. And even in the anticipation of that match, you used up a lot of energy. So
Sutter beat Elliott Redesno at the Western New Englands last month. So they've got some idea how to beat him. Right now, we're not seeing it.
Mark, we've been on the air for how long? 15 minutes with this match?
Yeah, maybe a little longer.
How many unforced errors have you seen from Elliott and Radesno?
Very few.
Yeah, in contrast to the last match, you know, we're watching Cooper and Moldaville, and we're just like, they have to keep the points going. This is what I know Elliott and Radesno are capable of. And just as I say it, it's the announcer's curse. Elliott dumps a ball in the net. But I just think that's, yeah, the longer the points, I think they love it, and it helps against, you know, a team who's played a ton like Shea and Sutter this season.
Good blitz there from Elliott. Yeah, Shea and Sutter doing nothing to make Elliott Radesno uncomfortable.
And I just think my question mark with them as a team is from the net, Mark, a little bit with the variety or maybe the lack of variety and the placement of their overheads. Yeah, and you don't see Radesno in that ad court, but...
So Shea's shoulders slump after missing that one.
Yeah. You know, we lost Radesno in that corner, Mark, but with this camera angle, you just know the ball's going in there, the ball's going to come back. Really low error rate.
Yeah, we saw Darda Shea have so much success through the years. The women's game has evolved so much in the last 10 years. I'm not sure you can win without a dominant overhead anymore. Great blitz there from Elliott, and she misses that one. What are your thoughts on that, Patty?
I would say that is accurate because you need to be able to have a shot that can open up the court. You need the variety and the grips on those, you know, to create the variety in the overheads. And, you know, we've just seen Nicolescu and Anika dominate play with their overheads for the last, 8 years, Mark? And so having that firepower as a net team and as a net player goes a long way to having, you know, the ability to just win some easy points. I just feel like Shea and Sutter, from what I see at the net, just don't win any easy points on their overheads. Maybe that's the way I would explain it.
The other woman with the terrific overhead, obviously, is Anna Zabori.
Hers is a thing of beauty as well.
Great move by Radesno. Elliott misses that one. You really feel like Shea and Sutter are hanging on by a thread right now.
But we know any team with Amy Shea on it, they're always going to hang on. They're always going to fight. There's always going to be a battle here. Just when you feel like, oh, it's not looking good, she has an uncanny ability to turn it around. Thought that serve was long. Confirmed.
Marcela Radesno thought the same thing. Those are the mistakes Shea and Sutter can't afford right now. That's a big forehand from Elliott on a pretty good serve. Very impressive, the Macy Elliott forehand. There's Shea looking for the nick.
And one of the things, Mark, when you say you're impressed by Elliott's forehand, her backhand was her dominant shot when they won Nationals in 2020. But, you know, she's a student of the game. She's always going to want to improve. And, you know, to make her forehand a weapon, holy cow. I mean, that just makes them so much better as a team. I think your point about the overheads is you just can't be a one-trick pony out here in the women's game. You've got to have some different looks and different weapons because it all comes down to matchups. You don't know what you're going to get in any match, and you've got to be able to pull the trigger and have offense from all different spots. And what a rip from, Elliott. That deuce court just forced another error there on a volley error from Sutter.
Add Elliott Radesno. Great volley from Amy Shea behind Marcela Redesno. Takes him back to deuce.
Yeah, Shea and Sutter. I mean, Mark, they've been on a great stretch. Second place at Westchester, second place Detroit, won the Western New Englands. They were fifth in charities, where they did lose to Elliott, and Redesno, as you pointed out, I believe earlier. I mean,
And out.
they've got what it takes, but I just think against the likes of a team like Elliott and Redesno, it's taking it up another notch, and I just think you have to bring a little bit more to the table, like I've spoken about over and over off of the overheads.
There's the first unforced error we've seen from Redesno, takes him back to deuce. As I said, Shea and Sutter just hanging in there. And that's what you got to do. You got to keep fighting.
Did you just say that was the first unforced error from Redesno?
I think the first we've seen. Another big forehand from Macy Elliott.
Yeah, like the transition to the net. You could see Redesno and Elliott just switching, getting Elliott to the left of the two players at the net.
Great lob from Shea. Spot drive from Shea, looking for that right hip.
Yeah, I don't think Shea's gonna get a lot of looks right here. I think they're crazy to just. I think they're doing exactly what I would think they would do. Just now bring it to Sutter, and let's see how she can handle it. Little roller from Redesno.
She's in survival mode now. It's a great lob there to get herself out of it.
Yeah, really good lob.
She's come a long way this year. Her play has really improved.
Yeah, she's rock solid mentally.
But there, that hits that overhead to the
Yeah.
backhand and just pays for it. That's the spot in the court you have to avoid. When they won nationals, Cooper and Hanisch went out in that court and that took that shot away from her. I don't think she hit 4 backhands the whole match. They decided that's not where we're going to lose the match. They lost anyway, but they took away the best weapon.
And if you hit it there, Mark, you've got to hit it deeper with a little bit more loft if she can. I mean, the threat of them taking the ball out of the air to negate that, who knows? That's potential. But I just think that's the thing with that lefty overhead from really deep. I actually think she probably should just let the ball bounce and throw up another good lob. Because I just think when she's 3/4 deep, hitting her overheads, Elliott and Redesno have a little too much firepower.
Another point for 4-1.
Right there's good lob again, pushing Sutter back. Shea went to cover that one, but then made herself vulnerable.
Game, Redesno, Elliott. They lead the set.
I was talking to Macy Elliott's college coach, Kati Jewell, and she was saying that in college, Macy had a huge serve and a huge forehand, which is the exact opposite of how she plays paddle. She was just shocked when I told her about Macy's paddle game.
That's a good one, Mark. So, Mark, this is the thing. Elliott and Redesno are a really smart team, and, lobbing the lefty Sutter, pushing her back deep, that's a great formula for them to, get a really good look. And, sometimes I used to think if I was playing someone really good, I was better off on the real deep lob, just letting the ball bounce.
Missed by a yard. Things can be over fast. If Jerry Vail was here, she would say the water's going down the drain. Counterclockwise, though. Great return there from Amy Shea.
15 all.
Yeah, she picked a good spot. Redesno kind of went away on the volley there. I think she could have handled it. Really good rip through the middle.
30.
Again, Redesno's not looking to help out at all. We talked about that in the last match, and I think that's one of the attributes that makes Nicolescu so dominant in our game, her ability to help out her partner when her partner on the serving games from her partner. And this is where I don't even see Redesno even thinking that she's going to help out Macy. And maybe she thinks she doesn't need to give her partner, Macy Elliott, any help.
Really smart play by Elliott there. She stays back, drives the ball, first opportunity, they take over the net. Don't give away points and return a serve.
Shout out to Eileen Leahy, who's enjoying listening from Westfield, New Jersey.
And they're playing a lot of balls into the Sutter corner, aren't they?
Yeah, the net play from the team of Redesno and Elliott is seemingly effortless, Mark. They're up there and they just seem to be able to handle, you know, with their athleticism, racket skills, they can handle most of what comes their way from Shea and Sutter here.
Okay, point to get the 4-2. Shea and Sutter. Yeah, Macy Elliott is just tying her in knots over there.
Yeah, and she's from the right side. You know, a lot of times we see her switch over and be the left of the players at the net, but that angle cross court into Sutter, the left in the deuce court, is really being, you know, a key to them really controlling play here from the net. And this is where, you know, we don't see Amy Shea in this picture, and we shouldn't see her in the point. I would not engage Shea that much out of the at court if I could avoid it.
Boy, Elliott's forehand volley has been terrific today. Jumped on that one and hit Shea with it. Great ball.
Yeah, that was kind of interesting. She challenged Shea on that one earlier when we went on the air. She kind of stood there, and Amy had her way with a, you know, great spotted drive on a short ball, and that time, you know, Elliott's like, let's go, Shea, bring it on, and she just closed in for a winner.
This is almost a must game for Shea Sutter. And Elliott closed the net off again.
Yeah, you've got to be impressed with her movement here. I mean, they are playing great, Mark. I think they've answered your questions.
Certainly have. They're so dynamic at the net. I love the movement.
Winner of this match, as you said, comes up against Nicolescu and Anika.
What a barn burner that could be. Oh, second one this game. Redesno has missed on the lob through.
Out.
Gives him another ad opportunity. Got to take advantage of that.
Yeah, you don't get too many gifts from Redesno out of that ad court.
What good forehand volleys from Redesno there. Great lob from Amy Shea.
Yep, good combination. Good discipline from Amy. You know, she fired a forehand drive and then had the discipline, saw an opening, went up with the next ball.
And I like what we've seen from Shea Sutter of late. If they're going to lose, they're going to lose to Marcella Redesno. Don't let Macy Elliott beat you. She played 10 balls in a row, all over to Redesno. Well, that was a tough overhead, had no angle at all. Yeah, then they catch Elliott in the blitz, and it's game Shea and Sutter. That was a really well-played couple of points there, Patty Hogan.
Yeah, that was good discipline play. It all started with hitting 11 of 12 shots to Redesno over in that ad court.
Important to be aware of why you're winning points, why you're losing points when you're out there. Because if you don't know, then you can't change things up and alter your strategy.
Exactly. You know, and that's what makes the best players in the game. Why they're the best players. Exactly. It sounds like a silly point to make, but they know exactly what they're doing, so they can make changes.
Yeah, they got to do something about the Elliott blitzing. She really hurt them with that move. I'd like to see them in the I formation, maybe one server staying back, something different.
Yeah, and I think even Sutter right there, Mark. I think close in more. Be maybe aggressive on the first volley, because you see what play Elliott and Redesno are about to pull. And I've often thought that, you know, if you play a volley deeper, where you're just looking to absorb the pace, you feed into a blitzing team, where maybe charge it and put the ball at that blitzer's feet before she gets the opportunity to beat you. So I would overrun this if I was Sutter. All right, really smart shots, Mark. We're seeing more go to Redesno, exactly our point we talked about earlier. And Redesno, maybe she has a fever, Mark. I think that was her third unforced error. No, I'm only kidding. But
Great forehand volley from Amy Shea there. But see, that's the spot they've got to avoid. Oh, great lob from Shea.
Really good lob. But right here, do not bring Elliott into this point.
Certainly not on the backhand side.
No, right there, and I think Marcella Redesno should let that ball go through. That angle from that lefty overhead will travel right over to the Elliott backhand off the screen. If I was Redesno, I would let Elliott take a few more of those balls right now.
Game Shea Sutter, they climb back to 3-4.
Redesna and Elliott lead the set 4-3. They won the first set 6-4.
Mark, you and I have talked about this sometimes. We've seen it with the team of Cooper and Molenveld, where Cooper will really encroach on the middle of the court and take a lot of the balls that could potentially land on Molenveld's backhand. And they've had a lot of success with Cooper going that far over. I don't think it serves Elliott and Redesno as well, and I think Sutter and Shea are playing some real discipline, couple of games here, and really just taking it to Marcella Redesno, and Redesno's, made a few errors, and they're right back in this set.
Hannah Zabori with a relatively easy win over Gia Williamson. They are an unstoppable freight train right now.
Yeah, they're playing well. They're unbeaten to this point in the season. All right.
Great move by Redesno there. She closes them out, 30-15.
I like that pressure from the deuce court. We don't see a lot of her over there, and she just took it to them.
We saw virtually none of her on that point.
Exactly. Really good low first volley. I love the close right there that you saw from Redesno. She just moved in really close before the ball could dip below the level of the net.
Amy Shea does such a good job of spotting that forehand drive.
Why do you hit it there?
Gets the lead cord there, 30-all.
Yeah, not the best overhead right there. I like it.
Big rips from Sutter. Takes them to game point. Get back on serve at 4-all.
Mark, Sutter, two-handed backhand better than her forehand? Puts a little more pressure?
Swing, a little more compact. Both good shots.
Yeah, that's what I think. I think it's a little bit more compact, exactly what you said, and that's why I kind of like it under pressure a little bit more.
Oh, Amy Shea misses the lob long there. That hurts. Right backhand there. The backhand is so much of a shorter shot. It's so much harder to read where she's hitting it. Another point for 4-all. Great volleys from Redesno.
action from New Jersey and women's action now from Illinois, Chicagoland.
Amy Shea to serve 4-all. 3 games in a row for them. They looked like they were in big trouble, and here they are back even in this set.
You know, this is what we're used to seeing from Redesno. Really good deep high lobs, and then that allows, right there you saw it, the signature play from Redesno Elliott, with Elliott applying the knockout blow and blitzing from that deuce court.
Great move there, takes us to love 30.
I think she's driving, Mark. Yeah, Sutter did a good job there. She was deep from the lob and handled that low drive from Redesno nicely. Really good volleys here from Shea and Sutter early in this point. It's what you need to do, be able to do to withstand that onslaught, the offensive stuff that you can see from Elliott and Redesno, particularly from Elliott out of the deuce court.
Confusion there from Elliott Redesno. Starting to see some errors seep into the Elliott Redesno game. First half hour on air with them, they were flawless. 30-all.
Yeah, she's just got to take that ball even up the line. Just put that ball in play right here. They're winning the match.
Oh, another fault from Shea.
Again, Redesno, just make them hit a volley here. Let them hit a volley. Oh, that was a little wide, a little long.
Faults in a row confirmed by chair umpire Rick Eddy. And Elliott Redesno will serve for the match. Oh, that was very un-Amy Shea-like.
5-4. They won the first set 6-4.
But again, I think that's the beauty of the team, you know, what Redesno and Elliott bring to the table, and you're serving to Redesno. She's not the one with all the firepower, but you have the threat of Elliott at any point in time just moving into your frame, your line of vision to look for a blitz. And that's what causes faulting.
Okay, Macy Elliott to serve for a spot in semis.
Yeah, I wouldn't expect that Shea is going to get many looks in this game, Mark.
Oh, Sutter catches the top of the net. 15-love. Right, every forehand Amy Shea hits is aimed at that right hip. She's so good at that.
Yep, that's what makes her a great player. I think so many players don't think about that shot as much and just bring all the power, where she definitely has always been able to spot those drives and just try to break down the volley.
Really well played point.
Yeah, their battles, Shea and Sutter are such a great team. They're going to fight this until the very last point. They yield nothing.
30-15.
That serve looked like it just caught.
Yeah, really deep serve.
2 points from the match.
Yeah, you can feel.
It's a swing, another set, match point.
Yeah. Elliott's not missed too many. That's why they've got a set point. Match point, great rip again from Shea.
Again, finding the right hip, forcing her opponents to flip the paddle and then forehand volley. Back to deuce.
Yeah. And she's handling that Elliott serve up the tee really, really well. I'm curious if Redesno swinging a little bit on that volley, forcing the error.
Great forehand from Macy Elliott.
And that's just a little bit of the question mark I see with Shea and Sutter at the net sometimes, where the lefty-righty thing kind of is a little bit, they're not a monster shifting team, and they leave themselves a little vulnerable in the middle from time to time.
Another miss from Sutter, and it takes it.
Yeah, see, I like when the ball's coming from the ad court, I like the setup for Shea and Sutter. When the ball's in the deuce court, I don't feel like they get over. They shift as much, and sometimes there's a little gap left in the middle. A little bit here.
There's the blitz, and she misses it long. Oh, great move.
She was so excited, she couldn't believe that it was up so high. It was the perfect spot for her. And I like this. Shea and Sutter taking a lot of time. I earlier said how Elliott was forcing the pace of play pretty fast, and you could see Shea trying to slow it down a little bit.
Yeah, they're going over to Sutter. That ball's close.
Yep, really close. Great little pickup. Yeah, really good pickup from Shea right there.
And there it is. Game, set, and match. Elliott Redesno, 6-4, 6-4. Good stuff.
Yeah, Mark, that was fun. Good opportunity to get to see another match in the quarterfinals here. And like we said, I mean, now we got Elliott Redesno coming up against Anika and Nicolescu.
That sounds delicious, Patty Hogan.
And one semifinal, and then we've got Hanish and Zabori on the other side, awaiting the winner of the Morgan Sikora Delmonico Gebbia match.
Okay, we're back over to our first men's quarter. So just to identify the players, it's Shea Burris in the blue behind us. Lefty is Mick Erdoya. On the far side of the net, Chris Humphreys and Felipe Asas Koenig. Try and get your score as soon as possible.
These Marshall Chapin trained umpires are doing a great job, Mark, and we hear them from courts away, so I'm sure we're going to get a score here.
Do what? Do what?
It sounds like it was 6-2 first set, Burris Erdoya. Humphries to serve.
Burson and Erdoya, finalists last year in the Nationals at Canoebrook, lost to Duran and Mitchell, as everyone knows, and Humphries versus Koenig, rising stars in our game, young guys who are so fun to watch, and super competitive, super talented.
So 6-2 first set for Humphries, I understand. We'll try and get confirmation of that.
Question we had with Burson Erdoya, as we said, Erdoya was sick over the holidays, and I know he's not been on the court a lot. And Humphries and Osis Koenig, you can see, are looking pretty confident out here. And if you're a little off at the top of the men's game, Mark, there's so much depth. These guys are so good. Very little margin for error.
First with a big swing, misses that backhand. First there, Mills a backhand there. Trying to get a score of the second set.
This quarter's from the bottom half of the draw, Mark, and the winner of this slated to. Let's see. We'll try to get some draw updates before I tease you with what's coming up. We'll just make sure.
Winner of the Hughes Powers match. We think it's 2-all in the second set.
Yeah, Hughes Powers are playing against Broderick and Christian, who took out Fraser and Morgan. Good win for Broderick Christian there, and Hughes Powers on a roll, Mark. They love Boston.
Victor Erdoya missed some balls that you wouldn't expect to see him miss.
But that was the question mark around just coming back. He was down out for a little bit. And you don't feel great, Mark. That impacts the confidence level, and you're just a little bit off here, and everyone's so good, anything can happen. Mark, we spoke about Hughes and Powers. How good are you feeling about their chances? You think that,
Westchester, really good. They were just brilliant in Westchester. That's the best I've seen them play in 3 years.
Yeah, I feel like they're back at peak form, which makes this tournament so exciting.
Well, John Hughes is a big Rafa Nadal fan, so I don't think it's a coincidence that Nadal's back and Hughes is back.
Aha. That explains everything.
Oh, great return from Austin Koenig from Burris serve. It's one of the best in the country. The head court.
You see the movement there from Austin Koenig. I mean, the quickness this team has potentially is amazing.
I think that's 30-40. Great opportunity there. Great blitz from Humphries. But Patty, you haven't made a height comment yet in this match, which is unusual. But let me go to that. What advantages does Felipe Koenig have with his height? What disadvantages does he have?
Well, given his fitness and his speed, a little bit of court coverage on some deep lobs, but I don't see that's, the deep lobbing is not what the Erdoya Burrs team is known for. He's just got you can just see the footwork. He's passionate, he's competitive, he's feisty. I've seen him play twice this year in person, and really impressive, Mark.
Great backhand by Humphries gets him to add point, and then Koenig finishes the deal with another one, and they go up 3-2 in the second set.
And you're sticking with that they won the first set, Mark?
I'm sticking with that. So Chris Humphries with a little math. 8 games in the first set, 5 games in the second set.
What I'll be curious about here, Mark, is with Burris and Ardoya here, you know, do they have the fight? They've not played a lot as of late, and they find themselves in a hole here, and they haven't found themselves in a hole in recent tournament play. So this is a curious moment in this match.
Well, Nick Ardoya just really looking rusty as you see him take a forehand there off the snowboard. He is the offensive engine that makes his team go. This Burris gets beaten there by Humphries. But Humphries, us as Koenig, are one of the most exciting teams in the country. I mean, you know, bright young team, a lot of talent.
And, you know, their quickness we talked about, and, you know, their volley ability, it can negate that, you know, their offensive, you know, shots that you see. Like Burris, I mean, has a two-handed backhand that, you know, among the top 3 in the men's game, probably. Do you agree with that, Mark?
One of the better ones. I'm going to go quite top 3, but it's very good.
Okay, I'll give him top 3, in my own personal opinion. But anyway, you know, he kind of took a middle ball that he passed up the opportunity to crush a forehand to hit that two-handed backhand. These guys can handle those kinds of things because of their quickness.
That's their offense right there, the big Ardoya forehand. Moves so well.
Well, as Ardoya goes, this team goes, Mark. We all have seen that.
Burris is very solid. The offense more comes from Ardoya.
Ardoya's out of Montclair Golf Club, and Burris is his neighbor over at Essex Fells Country Club. I'll give them a shout out, Mark, because they are great friends of mine for their love of junior paddle and stepping up to the plate, always helping out, anything we need for the kids. They're doing a phenomenal job.
Backhand from us, Koenig. Burris and Ardoya look a little bit lost right now, Patty.
Yeah, and Burris looks a little bit, almost too mellow for my liking, Mark. But again, you know, Humphries and Koenig are so feisty out here. You can just see they're really fighting, and you can see them with their footwork. Like everything about their body language is positive, and you feel like Ardoya, Burris, just not as much energy coming from them.
But normally you see the energy coming from Ardoya.
Yes.
From Burris. Great cover by Humphries.
Yeah, that was a really sluggish overhead. I mean, I never saw Ardoya miss that shot in the last 4 years. I think he's hurting a little bit.
Similar to our last match with Annika Cooper, he just doesn't look quite right.
And
6-2, 4-2.
Right, and Mick's a fiery guy. Ardoya's a fiery guy. So, you know, and Burris, they're great friends. He knows how to deal, you know, they know how to deal with each other. They are totally supportive. And, I mean, like we said, we've seen so many matches turn on a dime. But I just feel like there's so much energy from Humphries, the lefty here on the deuce court, and Koenig out of that ad court. Just maybe more than Ardoya and Burris can handle today.
Just because I think continues to play this way, then I'll have
Right.
to be forced to agree with you.
Yeah, you know, and I always think, Mark, we've seen a million paddle matches. You would think Erdoya and Burst would be, you know, everyone's favorite to win this match. All of a sudden, they find themselves in a big hole, and they're just not feeling, you know, if they're only feeling 70% or 80% physically, it's too big a margin against these young, talented team of Osi Koning and Humphreys.
Well, like we talked about earlier, we just haven't seen them play very much of late. Didn't play Detroit, didn't play Westchester.
Yeah, you just see not a ton of footwork from Erdoya Burst on the far side of the net here. What great hands in this point from Erdoya.
Really well played point. And Humphreys' ability to hit the backhand means he can play that backhand side without a problem. You just can't dump the middle, especially since Osi Koning's backhand's probably a better shot than his forehand. This takes away a lot of comfortable bailout spots.
Yeah, it takes away that. Yeah, Erdoya's used to hitting a ton of shots over into that ad-court corner, just like Drew Broderick. By putting the lefty over there on the outside, it takes away that shot. Or it makes you think twice about hitting it.
There's a finish from Bursch.
You know, Mark, when I've seen Burst and Erdoya play, you're used to seeing them win easy points, some fast points. We're seeing none of that here.
Good scramble from Osi Koning. Oh, he was looking for the blitz, just a hair late there.
I mean, you got to be so impressed. Osi Koning, I mean, I love his play. I love watching him play.
Fun to watch. Patient lob there. Could have taken a cut at that ball.
Yeah, 3 years ago, these guys weren't in the game, Humphreys and Osi Koning, and look at them, and, you know, here they are. They look like they have a hugely legitimate shot at taking out our national champion runner-ups here today. Look at that two-handed backhand. What a smooth, balanced swing.
30-all. It's a tough view. You can see what Humphreys is looking into with the sun.
Does it make him favor his backhand on the return, Mark?
I think he probably favors his backhand on the return anyway. There we go. Better look at it there.
But when you're blinded looking in the sun, maybe take the shot on the other side.
Erdoya's just got a tremendous serve to the deuce court.
Wow.
Spike, that was great footwork to hit that shot. A little late coming in.
Mark, all the matches this weekend are 2 out of 3 traditional scoring,
Yes, they are, except for the back draws.
except for the back draws. We've seen some experimenting with some APTA Tour events with different scoring, but this is a 2-day tournament, so back to traditional scoring.
Great close there from Erdoya. Yeah, the depth of the draws is such that the one-day events are just so hard.
Go!
Yeah, when first round matches last 3 hours, it's brutal.
This is a tremendous point.
That Erdoya and Burrs have to win. Oh,
Boy, that's a volley Burrs makes most times. He's so rock solid at the net. I guess he just didn't pick that ball up off the Osi Koning backhand.
yeah, just
Huge
really good.
point.
Yeah,
Point for
really good.
5-2 here.
Good dipping ball.
That's a lot of respect from Erdoya. He stays back, misses the lob, and it's 5-2. Humphrey Osi Koning. This thing is going fast.
When do you see Mick Erdoya stay back? I mean, they're struggling here, but you know, Ossex, Koning, and Humphreys, they must be playing a match of their season so far here. And I mean, just what we've seen with Ossex, Koning flying all over the court, so impressive.
Well, they had a big win in charities. Used powers at charities. It's obviously a talented team.
They are totally legit.
Okay, Chris Humphreys will serve for a spot in the semifinals.
If you told me that Humphreys and Ossex Konings win this in straight sets, I would not take the bet.
Yeah, but again, in fairness, he's always been dealing with illness and hadn't played much paddle. You've seen him miss some very un-Urdoya-like misses, like that one right there.
Yeah, usually, you know, these guys will fight like hell to get in these points and really make you earn it, and you just feel like neither of them, like they're each giving away a little bit too much here. And it's a bummer when you've been sick and you've got no legs, and Ossex, Koning, and Humphrey look like they're playing a flawless match, just rock style. It's steady, not forcing anything, just handling everything that comes their way.
Another miss from Urdoya takes us 2 points for the match. A hat trick. 3 missed Urdoya forehands. That usually is like 4 matches worth. And that takes us to triple match point. And there it is, game, set, match. Humphreys, Ossex, Koning, 6-2, 6-2.
Great win for them, I'm sure. So disappointing for Burris and Urdoya. They just look so flat. I'm sure coming off didn't help, but all the credit to Humphreys, Ossex, Koning, Mark.
Great match. Okay, we're going to be back with the women's semifinals, which were originally scheduled for 3:30, which obviously will not be at 3:30. We're going to get a time up on the match, a time up on the screen. On back after a moment of these messages right here on the APTA YouTube channel, presented by eNet Live.